I know. Yeah.
New. Good afternoon. Coming live from 1950 South Shepherd. We got some guests on today. It is Mental Health Monday. So we decided, no topic in particular. It is Mental Health Month. So we figured, why not grab some mics and talk about Belinda's possums?
Yep.
No, I'm just
Aw,
We
we
could
love
zoom
your
in, we would.
possum.
uh,
Zoom in.
we love her possums, but whip them, whip your
Whip
possums.
'em up.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I know. It's gonna wait on you.
well, would you all like to introduce yourselves?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Natalie Harjo. I am not a regular in this area, but I think y'all hear about me a little bit. So glad to be here this afternoon.
Possum woman, would you like to introduce
All
yourself?
right. My name's Melinda Sutton. I work for the Department of Health under Health Education with my possums. Now, is it possums or opossum?
I heard that is two different things, but opossum and possum, I don't know.
We
One
want the
seems
short
just
version. Give us
more
the
of
short
a.
version.
Oh my God! Why did you put me on here if you don't want me to talk?
Well, I say possum.
Because when she
Say possum.
starts,
Possum.
Awesome.
we'll whip them anyways, Belinda.
I did. Oh, wait.
One more again. One more again. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Well, here at 1950 South Shepherd in El Reno, we feel like in the Department of Health, how we realize how important the mental health month, January, starting off this new year. I think it's a great idea because it gets you in a good headspace to set some good goals and maybe just talk about some self care. I mean, what does self care look like for a person? How do you go about maintaining your mental health? And is there ways that you feel like you could improve? So, who would like to kick this off?
I have a comment on self care before we get started.
Gone in.
Well, I just wanted, so a lot of times when we're talking about self care, we'll have people that come up and say, oh, well, my self care is helping other people. And while that might be something that does make you feel good, um, it's also not self care. It's, and I get it,
It's temporary.
it's sometimes the romantic thing to say, I'm addicted to work. And so that's all I do. And it's my self care. And it sounds wonderful to say, but what are you doing to actually take care of yourself? This is when you allow yourself to be selfish and enjoy something that you like. Like, if you don't want to listen, I have kids too, but if you need a break from your kids, take a mental break away from your kids. Go outside for a walk. Have somebody watch them, or go watch a movie by yourself or something like that. Something that seems selfish to say out loud, but if it's your truth, then that's the self-care that you need. So anyway, I just wanted to say that before we get started because I know a lot of people that say that.
Now I gotta come up with a new answer.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, no.
Good afternoon, Frida. Good afternoon, David. I can see comments now with my inspector.
Songo, David Deer.
My inspector.
Oh, it's gonna set the computer on
Frida?
fire with the light.
I can see the future with this thing, but I love the fact that we don't really get on here and say, well, this is a topic, but I think it's a great way to kick off 2025. Me being in recovery, I realize how important my mental health is. Basically, that's kind of what um like some of the things that I came to realize is how important maintaining my mental health is. How that, if I'm able to do that, then I know I'm going to stay sober. Which is a huge deal in recovery. Because they say, when you get sober and you get into recovery, it's all an inside job. I know I had a drug and alcohol problem, but I also had a berry problem. And that's why I always like Zach's story. Zach Blackout. Shout out to the man, the myth, the legend. he has a great story on doing going about the crisis that I guarantee most people with addictions had came up, had these things come into their life and they didn't know how to handle them. And that's why I like Zach's story because he went, he reached out, he realized he was having trouble and he found a solution, and he didn't have to go through, drugs and alcohol to find that route. So what other ways do you feel like, Belinda, that you could how do you practice keeping your mental health up?
Oh.
Well, to say what more what Barry just said about Zach, I think his um mental health, what helped him overcome like his barriers was to be vulnerable. I think that's one of his biggest takeaways is just being open and what Barry is talking about being taking care of your mental health because um, we have a lot of things that we face inwards and we need to I guess have find a healthy source to output that energy. And so it's a new year and one of my goals is to go back to the gym. I haven't been to the gym since September of last year, so it's just trying to find that time. But I realized going to the gym, it helped relieve stress. It helped me feel more better about myself, being more active. And it was just a time where I could just put any stress or anything that I was feeling into like weights. I just remember doing ball slams. I was really slamming that ball. Just all getting all my aggression out. But I kind of realized since being out of the gym, I feel, I would say, less happy with myself. I feel like when I was at the gym constantly, it was just routine and it helped me with my mental health. And uh, yeah, I think
Well,
that's
thank
about
you.
it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Joshua, Leslie, little brother Drew. Mingo? What the hell?
He said, "Good afternoon,
Well,
Mr. Pickett, Josh Pickett."
Mr.
My little
Pickett.
brother said, "My self care is going fishing."
Well, yeah, we just talked about this, Derek.
But
Well,
with
duty
sorry.
calls. Go ahead. Go ahead.
With me working out and stuff, I've noticed not going to the gym, I feel more irritable. So hopefully I can. I brought my gym clothes today, so I'm hoping to get back into the gym
Have to vent those frustrations.
after work. Yes.
I mean, you have to have a place for them to go. If not, then they stay balled up
Yeah,
inside
they
you.
stay.
So I
Yeah.
get it.
What about you, Nat?
My self care, I have all different types of things, but one of the biggest things that I always have to do is the grounding. I talk about grounding a lot, but and when I talk about grounding, I don't mean it is very spiritual for me, but I like to play in the mud. I like to take my shoes off and walk around in the dirt. All those things that I used to like to do when I was a kid that made me happy. I don't know when somebody told us that we were too old to have, to go play or, do any of those things. I like to color. I like to draw. I like to do things that I don't know that I encourage my children to do, whenever they were little. So I don't know. In a bath, I love like a really hot, almost scalding, boiling bath. I don't know what it is about feeling like a lobster when I walk out, or whenever I get out, but it's releasing to me. And it's almost kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like, it's very reminiscent of like fasting and putting yourself through almost torturous, but not really torturous, right? It's kind of a release. So I don't know. I have kind of this weird pain thing anyway. But
Maybe it's just cooking them chitlins.
I
Yeah.
feel real clean when I'm
Seasoning
done,
them
though.
chitlins.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Josh, Melissa. Who else we got on the Cassandra?
There's another Josh.
Heck,
right there.
Mr. Shawnee, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the view. I myself, I would have to say prayer. Keeping that contact with the Creator. One of the things I've learned about my self care is I don't have to like force myself into every situation. I don't have to control everything. As you heard me talking to one of my bros earlier, it was finding a way to sit down and have faith and allow the Creator to do His work in my life. I don't have to play God all the time. That's probably one of my biggest problems is I like to play God. I want to have every little detail of my life. Like I want to have some kind of say so. So me just kicking back and allowing these good things to happen. Because once you get into this positive, like I don't know, I guess you could call it lifestyle, there's so many things that I could say are negative about my life. But hey, I wake up grateful. When I wake up, I'm thankful that I was on that list. And I appreciate I got a warm bed, I got a hot shower, I got clean clothes, I got food in my fridge. I mean, and if that's all that I got, then I'm straight. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about yesterday, it seems that overcoming these drugs and alcohol was such a it was such a life-changing event that everything else seems easy. So Mr. Chibata, what do you do for self-care?
What do I do? It used to be the gym a lot, and now it's just the gym every morning, but I'm asleep. Uh, yeah, after my first deployment, dealing with a lot of PTSD, fitness was definitely the one that helped me through a lot because it was time to just isolate and actually see results of what I was going through, and that gave me, some pride, some satisfaction. After my second deployment, there's like a lot of injuries, and so then I had to find a substitute, and so now it's a lot more of crafting and like woodworking, and so I like doing that, like making cedar boxes, gourds, anything that I can create. I think is fun, especially since my oldest daughter, she's really interested into it, and so we'll make cedar boxes together. And so like if anybody ever gets a cedar box from any of our raffles or anything like that, odds are both of us have put effort into making it, whether it's like burning the wood, sanding it, doing anything. I think that's really therapeutic. Just kind of relaxing, creating something, seeing what I can do, how I can fix mistakes, because crafting anything, there's always gonna be struggles.
Oh yeah.
But figuring out how I can overcome these little obstacles that I already made from the process, I think is gratifying, and that's what helps me. Just kind of let loose, just relax, see what I can do, what new things I can bring to the table, just with woodworking or um, anything really. And so I think that's what I kind of like, little family time whenever the kids aren't duking it out, because that's all they do. They just fight
Yeah,
each other.
That's the age that they're at,
Yep,
though. You just gotta get
absolutely.
used
They're
to
just
it.
punching each other, and
Yeah.
so
Just
yep,
wait till they're old enough to like be chasing each other with scissors and knives. And
they already
stuff.
do that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's all good.
Yeah.
Yep, they'll grab sticks. They'll try to fight each other with sword fights. Just and then
Fun time. Good
yeah,
times. Good
it's a good
times.
time. But yeah, I think that
Just like playing in the mud.
yeah, that stuff is what helps me. Um, family time is always something, but that's more you know environmental care instead of just self care. And so I believe like if you're healthy as an individual, you're able to kind of help stabilize the rest of the family. And so that's one thing that we kind of try to do, whether it's family trips to like arcades are our thing. So anytime we go to like Dave and Buster's or Round Run at Quail Springs Mall,
Oh yeah.
amazing. Um, yeah, we'll go through there. We have our own card, and we just rack up thousands and thousands of tickets. That's the most
Flawless.
valuable thing in my wallet.
Hello.
Um, but yeah, so any kind of like family activities we can do, I think it helps us as a whole, but also at like little individual levels too.
You know what I think is funny too? Not funny, haha, funny, but like, when you're in recovery or when you're going through any type of mental health illness and in recovery from that, a lot of times that people think that every day has to be positive.
Mhm.
Like you have to go into toxic positivity and be like, oh, this is going to be a wonderful day. And it's great to kind of amp yourself up for that and change your perspective. But there's also days like for my self care, because I know that I have PTSD from all of these things that's happened to me in my past and all of these different things. And so, but the days that I allow myself to have a bad day, like I feel it's very gratifying because I'm not lying to myself
Mhm.
that day. And I don't have to put on a mask and I don't have to, have this facade of happiness because it's going to be fake and that's false. And how do I want to represent myself today? Do I want to misrepresent myself and lie to everybody and say I'm good? But I think it helps me emotionally, self-caring, allowing myself to have a bad day and go, you know what, I have a bad day today, but I don't have to live here, but let me have my moment. There's been times that like my feelings get hurt now because I didn't used to have feelings. And so like for real, it took me a really long time to learn how to cry. And then when I learned how to cry, I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know how to deal with it. And I would get angry because I felt like I was weak. And so, but there are days now that like if somebody says something that hurts my feelings, even if it's my kids, I'll be like, you're gonna have to give me a minute. Like, let me have my moment to be hurt. Let me lick my wounds, and then I know that I can get that out instead of tucking it into my soul, because it will wound me and it will hurt me. And then I will wake up crying some random nights and I'll be wondering why. And it's because of all of these things that if you don't let that happen and allow yourself to have those honest moments with yourself and allow yourself to be that way, then it'll take you over. And then that's why we go into addiction.
Mhm.
So, anyway.
Oh,
Hmm.
I gotta get up again.
I know. That's what when my phone was ringing, I knew that somebody was going to start calling the other phone. Well, Mr. Chabada is working. And I think it's a great point that you brought up. About crying. The male stigma that you know uh, tears aren't for a man. And then coming into recovery, you start realizing all these different feelings. I remember my first time meditating, the peace that I felt. You know, uh, Not to say that I didn't have a care in the world, but at that moment, I knew I could let go of everything and just focus on. It was a guided meditation, and I could just focus on the task at hand. I didn't have to worry about all the things that were happening in my life at the time. Because when you come into recovery, it's like you just hit with all these different emotions, all these emotions that you were running from for all these years. They start popping up somewhere. They'll start springing up. Further on down the line, and that's what I've learned about mental health is that if you're not dealing with these things, somewhere down the line, I mean, they're gonna pop up. And I felt very fortunate because I was around a lot of good people, that had been into recovery for some years. And that's one thing that they helped me realize is like, just because I decided to get sober doesn't mean that life stops happening. So, you know, focusing on my mental health today, I mean, if I gotta cry, then I gotta cry. And I'm not a big crier. Like I'm an ugly crier, but I'm not a big crier. That's one thing that I feel like I'm still working on. But if I've learned anything, it's that real men cry. Real men aren't afraid to show their emotions. They're not scared to show what it felt like for them to have to maybe go through something, or maybe they are going through something at the time. And I've learned that it's okay not to be okay. We don't, you know, I like to sit up here and act like I might have it all together. But I mean, if you know me, then, sometimes I'm barely hanging on by a thread. But at the same time, I also have people in my life that I can reach out to, that I can call and just have just a normal conversation. We don't even have to talk about my problems. We don't even have to, it's just like, hey, what you been up to? Like I don't know what it is about me and my cousin Jack. He is hilarious. And just that phone call alone, and after every phone call or every, at the end of our messages, it's always I love you. And I feel very, very fortunate because he doesn't know what that does for me. And he's been doing it since we were kids. He's always kind of just looked out for me. He's always, like I said, he was probably like one of the greatest athletes of all time from Thomas, Oklahoma. And I'm not even making that up. But uh besides him having that title, I know him as just my brother. You know what I mean? So I mean, it's been amazing to have them type of people in my life. Where I remember it being the opposite. And Mr. Domingo White Man just walked
Just
in.
walked in. Uh-oh,
Uh,
Generation X. No. Well, in White Bison, today being Mending Monday, this
Jump, jump
evening, one
on.
of the things that they talk about during Mending Broken Hearts is that there are different types of tears. There's salty
Oh
tears and there's
yes.
sweet
Oh
tears.
yes.
And sweet tears are tears of happiness, of joy. And then salty tears are those, sadness and hurtful tears and everything. And we have, different tribes around the area have different ceremonies that have, there's one that's wiping away the tears. The Creeks, we actually have one at funerals. And so Creeks and Seminoles. And so it's there are things that go with it, and if they were not supposed to exist, then those ceremonies wouldn't exist either. So, but yeah, self-awareness is a big part of accountability for you during recovery, for any of us during, just for not even in recovery. I always say this because I think we're all recovering from something, right? And so, but it, if you know and you're aware of it, sometimes just like GI Joe, knowing is half the battle for a lot of that. And so I don't know, I just feel like that there are days that I feel like I'm just barely hanging by a thread, but then sometimes what we do and when we help someone else and kind of push forward with that, it changes our lives too, because we know that we had to come so far to even help somebody else, but sometimes they help us just by reminding us. And so, and we have two other guests that just popped up. What?
I like what Woody Blaine says about uh crying is the highest form of prayer. And I've come to believe that. I remember sitting in the sweat, and it's something that I really truly want for somebody, or that whether if I'm hurting or I know somebody else is hurting, and I want to offer that prayer. You know, I can't control when them tears come and go. So ever since he said that, that crying is the highest form of prayer. I've come to believe that, just through experiences. And Mr. Domingo Whiteman, would you like to tell us how you keep up with your mental health?
Self-care and mental health. Yeah.
Uh, Hannah, hey, good afternoon, everybody. Oh, thank you for asking that, and thank y'all for sharing y'all's what y'all do. There's many ways to do your self care, and good ways, good ways. But what I do, I like to do a lot of my my yoga and my meditation, and then reading the White Bison Daily Meditation with our native elders. And no matter what day it is, whatever's going on, it's like the meditation that matches what's what happened in your lifetime, what's going on, or what's happened in the past, or we don't know what's ahead. But when we step aside and let Mahel take it and just let him guide it, he'll guide you to wherever you got to go. He knows when you're ready and what you need, and the tools that you need. But just taking the time to yourself to be quiet, calm, getting a pedicure, or hey,
Yes,
getting a
absolutely.
pedicure, or just it's really a good feeling to do that. It's help you in life. And
Or
I
whip
met
your possums.
yeah, whoopee possums.
Oh my god.
He
Hey,
was like, what?
what? Yeah. No,
She
but
has possum fur earrings. But go ahead.
oh, oh, I had a brother talk to me like it was about like 14 years ago. He talked about how he got saved in Christianity and how he learned so much more when he did, and how he didn't say self care, but he said a lot with his spouse that that they started doing more together, like going out on dates and doing more, just adventure. That he was reminded that when they go on into the heavens, that they'll be brother and sister. They won't be a husband and wife no more. It took me a hard time to kind of understand that, because but the way to see him happy and going, and being sober and eating right, and, he quit drinking, quit eating bad foods, and I could see him, just his body and his what do you call it, transitioning, and always giving Bible verses. And man, it was amazing seeing him and doing that. And that stuck out to me when he talked about, he didn't say self care, but now that I learned what self care is, that's what he was talking about. So just going on, looking at nature, uh, pedicures, whatever you got to do.
Listen, men need to get pedicures. It's okay.
Yeah.
You be looking at my
Get
toes when you say
pedicures.
that?
Yes, I did. Ada, just went.
Yeah,
I didn't have to. Ada.
Yeah.
it just growled at you.
Yeah, I know.
Where's some tacos?
Tacos are probably gone.
Well, Belinda, what other things do you feel like what are some like other goals in your mental health that you want to focus on this year?
What are my goals?
Yes, do you have more goals that you
Hmm.
would like to achieve this year?
Let's see. No, I haven't thought about it. Uh,
Well, you will today.
Yeah,
yeah,
plant
but
that
Coming
seed.
back. Coming back.
Definitely
Plant
gonna
seeds,
plant that
plant
seed.
seeds.
You know, and
Goals.
and that's what these conversations start.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Is planting that seed. I mean, do I feel like I got it together? Hell no, Uh one of my things that I focused on last year is going through ceremony, and that was part of it. Was I wanted to build my relationship with the creator, with Mahio. So praying for that and asking for that, what came along was having this eye surgery, almost going blind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being put in this spot where I felt like the only thing that I could rely on was the creator. You know what I mean? Like I honestly felt like nobody in this world has the power that he has to heal me. You know what I mean? So I had to rely completely on the creator. You know what I mean? So like I'm not even gonna lie, like one of the first things that came to mind, like, man, I'm about to be blind. Like if this surgery didn't happen, like I honestly thought I was fixing to be blind. So, I at first I started getting down on myself. But then instead of getting into that negative mindset, I caught myself praying more and more and more, and until the point where any negative thought coming into my head, I could probably, ask God to remove that from me, take that feeling from me. I have so much to be thankful for. You know what I mean? But when I think about like goals, like, I remember after losing my son to suicide, my mental health was struggling really, really bad.
Mhm.
And I used to just take off walking. I would walk all over El Reno, all times of the night. No particular place that I wanted to go. No, I would just take off walking. And I seen how getting those dopamines going,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it really honestly helped me kind of combat, whatever thoughts were going through my head. You know what I mean? So I understand the physical part of wanting to that's got to be one of my goals
Yeah.
is finding some kind of, because I got to stay in shape, you know what I mean, for like
Yeah.
the next couple of
Yeah, it's
years.
important
Not the
kinda-
round shape,
Yeah,
not that one.
I don't want to roll into the yeah.
And I think it's important just to find an outlet. Like for me, it was just like you said, when you're doing physical activity, it works all those chemicals, blah blah blah. So you feel good. But I think what I struggle is so I get all those emotions, but I don't think I really deal with them. So
Mm,
I feel like I just kind of push it away.
mm.
Stuff them down.
Yeah, so I think that's probably going to be one of my goals. It's just
We need
to
to do
get
a trauma
close
timeline. That's what we need to
to
do.
get closer to a creator and to try to get into more sweats and ceremonies because I haven't been to a sweat since you've invited me. So
Oh yeah.
I need to go do more Indian things, be more native since I'm from
Definitely.
Cantonese.
Since you're Cantonese, we
Yeah.
heard.
Yeah, she found out she's Cantonese today.
You
Yeah.
got Cantonese. Are they ashy?
Canton.
Canton.
No, because she's a Sutton, and everybody knows Suttonville is in
Well,
Canton. So I told her she
didn't
was
know
Cantonese.
because I grew up in a city, in Midwest city. So everyone, when I started, asked me, "Oh, from Canton." I'm like, "Yeah, sure," but I'm not from there physically. But yeah,
I do
Cantonese.
appreciate your honesty though with like whenever he was like, well, what are your goals? And he was like, I really haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
Well, obviously you don't think about it if you don't have these conversations, right? And back barely. You had to suck it in. And broad shoulders. Your shoulders aren't down here. But if you don't have these conversations, then it doesn't trigger your brain to do that. And that's like the grounding techniques that I was talking about, the 5 4 3 2 1 thing. It's 5 things you can that you think about, 4 things you can touch, and all of these different
Oh,
things.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah.
And it helps you to get in tune with how your body's feeling.
Yeah.
And whenever you get to what you feel, what you hear, what and then you kind of tune into your body, then a lot of times you're tuning into your emotion, because we talk about Wellbriety and White Bison's structures being it's whole body healing. So mentally, spiritually, physically, and emotionally. And so check in with yourself every day and be like, how do I feel mentally? Spiritually, I'm straight, right? But then some days emotionally, I'm not. And that's what I need to work on today. And it's every day. It's just like recovery. It's sometimes it's a day at a time, sometimes it's an hour at a time, sometimes it's the next 10 minutes. How do I get through this next 10 minutes? Because it's almost 5 o'clock. Ada, how do we get through this next 34 minutes? Ada? Yeah, Andrea.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, shout out to Andrea.
Shout out
and
to
the Taco
Andrea.
Bell.
Our lives today. I
Oh,
only had
yeah.
4 elk burritos, and Andrea ordered DoorDash for her kids and sent them to the
These
office.
guys-
Yeah, send it to the office.
On
So we had Taco
accident.
Bell on top of
Oh
it.
yeah, there's still
Burritos.
Taco Bells floating around here.
So I brought
Yeah,
elk
I had 3
burritos, elk and bean burritos today, and Darian ate like 4 burritos. And then
My
I
free
brought
lunch.
I brought tamales too. You didn't have
I didn't have a
tamale?
tamale yet,
Okay.
no.
Anyway, let's go to the comments really quickly.
Oh yeah.
Earlier
After you guys
today,
left.
Dave,
Yeah.
Mr. Levi
We
said,
need a
"Better
bigger
come sweat
table at
in.
this point. We need
Better
a
come sweat
sectional
in
couch.
on Wednesday."
Bring the tamales.
Everybody.
I did make a Jake said mindfulness. Reel it in, reel it in.
Oh.
Jake also said increasing experiential engagement.
Yeah.
But Mr. Levi did say better come sweat, Dan.
Yeah, better come sweat then.
Yep. Every Wednesday. Every Wednesday.
Frida said, reaching out,
Say
not
Sundays.
stuffing my emotions. I have
Oh,
a
today's
choice
Monday.
today. Thank y'all. Yes, you do. Every day we have a choice. And it's how you want your mindset to be, being very mindful. If I feel like being crappy today, then that's usually how I end up making my day go until I change that. And it's my choice to make that. Dave, where's my tamales? They're
Sounded
still
like
up here.
cat
I
over here.
told somebody he was going to have to share, and he said no. So,
Hmm.
Mr.
I
Chibata.
said I would share. I'll
I
get
know, and I don't even
9
know where they
and
are.
111.
Yeah.
Yeah, see?
Anyway.
Well, you know, I feel like
I could have just had them split one.
after coming into recovery and getting that clarity, you know, I didn't realize that I had a problem with anxiety. You know, I've always had the depression. Like that was like what helped me along, you know, my journey as I got into substances. You know, but after going through that and being on this side of it, you know, I'm not saying that I overcame like completely. You know, I get daily reminders that those things still exist in my life. But being able, I guess, where I feel like I've accomplished something is recognizing when those things start to take over and maybe addressing, you know, having that clarity to process, uh, having that focus of like, okay, this is something that I really need to work on today. You know, there's these issues that keep coming up, and it's probably linked to this, or you know, because I'm the same way. You know, if I can squeeze by a problem in my life, you know, without causing too many ripples, you know, I'm probably gonna try it. You know, that's just my human nature. You know, but I'm glad that we can start having these types of conversations. You know, I'm glad that we're creating, you know, especially, you know, I didn't even know it was mental health month,
Mhm.
you know, and what a great way, you know, to start off our year. Because a lot of people, you know, because what do they say? Everybody sets goals, and then January 14th is called Quitters Day.
2 weeks. Yeah.
2 weeks into it, everybody, the goals that they set, everybody they called January 14th Quitters Day because it only takes 2 weeks for a person to give in to those goals. You know, and you know, I can understand, you know, maybe eating right or trying to go to the gym or, you know, especially during the winter time, you know, like all these different things. But you know, mental health, I mean, to me that's like a constant. You know, because I got a mind that works against me. I mean, that's how my mind works. You know, nobody talks to me the way that I talk to myself. You know, nobody takes me to the depths of, you know, future tripping or you know, holding on to the past like it just happened or just being, you know, in the moment. Like I get so far out there in my own thought process that I forget to be just in the moment.
I actually hyperfixate a lot. So that's usually what happens. I just wanted to read this comment really quick. Brother Jake said, we are cognitively incapable of being miserable and grateful at the same time. It's absolutely true. Absolutely. But one of the things that I like you were talking about future tripping, like my motto in life used to be I will prepare for the worst. I know what the best possible scenario is going to be, and I never look at the best possible scenario. But if I'm prepared for the worst that it could be, then as long as it happens somewhere in the middle, I'm okay
Mhm.
because I'm prepared for this mentally. But then I hyperfixate so hard on the bad. I'm so good at knowing what bad can happen. And, you know, a lot of times those bad things have happened to me, and that's, you know, part of my PTSD. And so, but yeah, I focus so hard on those things that I forget the other side of it, and then I have to remind myself, or it's a reminder that I can flip that perspective. Well, just today I did it. Whenever I went back to make that second batch of the burritos, it was
The refill.
steaming hot in the apartment, and so went in and it was anyway, it was really hot in there, and I just remember thinking, "Oh my god, it's so hot." And I changed my clothes and everything. And then but in my head, I was trying not to be miserable because I knew that I was going to have to stand at the stove again. And then I was thinking, I don't know what it was that hit me. I think as I was walking past the TV, I heard like one of the shelters, in somewhere local, they were talking about warming stations, and and all these different things that I needed to be grateful that I was burning up and I was about to cook with, electricity, and I had food to cook, and I just had all of these modern conveniences. And for a split second, that was my quick reminder that I needed to not make myself be miserable because I was already about to live there, right? And yes, Brother Jake said we almost manifest it by ruminating on the negative. And I mean, and I'm really good at that. A lot of us are really good at that because of that. And that hyperfixation thing, though, it's a part of my anxiety. It's a part of my, my mental illness. And I have adult, now they call it ADHD, but it didn't exist when I was younger, so there was no such thing whenever I was a kid. And now I realize that that's just a symptom of what's going on with me mentally. And so but being self-aware helps me to fix that, and it helps keep me accountable. It keeps me self-aware, and it keeps me associative instead of being dissociated. So, but yeah.
Darian, do you have any goals this year that you want to set for your
Personal
mental health?
goals?
Yep, mental health goals,
Uh,
personal mental health goals.
I think my biggest one, it's been a goal for a while, is learning to stop
Language?
before, yeah, yeah,
Go ahead.
learning to stop before I'm full. I think it is learning to quit before burning out. I think especially all four of us at Tor, or everybody that's pretty much in this field, is we always push because we see the light of our impact on the communities, and we
Mhm.
constantly forget that we need to take care of ourselves. I know for a while we were just like everywhere for months at a
Yeah, it
time.
was
It
nonstop.
was nonstop, and I want to still provide as much services as we can for the community, but also keep myself in check, right? Because I still have a family at home. I still have loved ones that I want to see, but I do get sucked into the work, um, and it's hard to pull back from that. I think
And
that's
let's
my
face
big.
it, that creates resentment,
Mhm,
right? You don't want to be resentful for something that you absolutely enjoy
mhm.
doing because then it makes you question what you're
Yeah.
doing. And so,
Oh, there's my wife. See,
oh,
she's
there's
she's.
Derek. See,
I
she
know
sees it.
she already
And,
knew. Yep, she's like, yep. You better take time off. She
you don't.
always says that that whenever I get sick for weeks at a time, and
Well,
she's
it's
like, "It's
because you're
because your body."
it
Yeah.
does. Your body will, I mean, Creator has a way of making us take a break when we don't
Yeah,
do it ourselves. And that's what happens is your body will shut down.
yeah.
It's my work phone. That's my
Oh,
work
here.
phone.
Oh, I was just saying that happens to me too. I go and go and go, and then I end up getting sick and blah blah blah. So yeah, it's one of my downfalls.
I think it's a downfall for a lot of people. I mean, very recently I got kind of stuck in a rut too. And, when it starts to cause problems with your physical health and your mental health and your emotional health and your work health, like you don't want to be at work, you don't want to do these things. It'll get you caught up. And so, and then you're not doing the best you possibly can be, especially when you work in a tribal facility, right? You always want to be providing the best
I'll be
possible
back.
thing that you can do for your people. And so Jerica said he doesn't listen to creators, so then he gets sick.
Let's talk about.
Talk about this. Hey. But yeah, I mean, we're all, and as long as we're self-aware and accountable, that's the hard part. Is I have fortunately I have very good relationship with the people that are higher up, on the totem pole than I am, and I can reach out and tell them, hey, I need a break, right? Or I'm breaking down. And that's where it's good to have those relationships with your employers. And if you don't, then I'm sorry. But I'm very fortunate where I work with Southern Plains Tribal Health Board, and you guys have a really wonderful boss in Connor. And but
She,
anyway,
aight.
she's good people. She's good people. Y'all are
She
really
ate,
lucky.
she ate one of your elk burritos today
She didn't
too.
like it.
She loved
Hey.
it. The beans went right to work though. She said.
Oh.
No, I'm just kidding.
You have a couple of comments. Can you see now?
Yeah, I can see.
Communication. But yeah,
Oh, she called you out,
yeah, I already told
Jerry.
you. We already
Jerick is over here ripping you a new one.
told-
Nah, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, these conversations are good to have, and it's good to have them with your kids.
In
too.
public.
Yeah, in public. He's got to get a drink. But yeah, to have them with your kids, to have them with your significant other, to have them with your coworkers. I mean, start that conversation, and sometimes you might be the difference that's causing someone to go out to the bar after we, get off work, or that's going to go home and not come back the next day. So you never know who you're going to influence by having that discussion. It's also important to monitor your conscious narrative. You're absolutely right, and I'm terrible at that. I'm terrible at monitoring. Sometimes I just speak before anything because that reaction thing, I feel like I have to react to everything.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I don't want to hear it.
I
Anyway,
know. I see it on the side, so I seen it. Seen it.
Well, like I said, I like to sit down, get out of God's way sometimes,
I have
That's
to
what
remind
helps me.
myself to do that.
Well,
Yes, you have to do it like that.
I feel very fortunate, with the work environment that we have around here. Um, I feel like, it's not so much of like somebody trying to one up somebody. I feel like we all have a common goal here, and it's to help our people. And I love that. I love that about the Department of Health with the Cheyenne Arapaho tribes. It's a common goal. It ain't about us. We do like to go above and beyond for our people, but at the same time, we can't take care of anybody if we don't take care of ourselves
You're
first.
absolutely right.
So I understand that we do have a common goal here, but that's one thing that I've learned, through my recovery is that if I'm not taking care of Barry, I'm not going to be much help to anybody else.
Can't fill. What's that one saying where you say you can't fill another person's cup if yours is empty?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Say it again.
No,
I don't know exactly how it goes, but I know exactly what
I got
you're
holes in my
talking
cup.
about. Yeah, I got my cup. My cup running
Yeah.
over.
a hole.
Like you need a new cup, but
Need to buy a new cup.
sippy
Mr.
cup, need a new
Sweezy,
sippy
Mr.
cup.
Sweezy says ceremonies are my outlet on mental health for myself and for my family.
All right, appreciate that.
Ceremonies are definitely a big mental thing for me too, especially like whenever you're fasting and you're doing something that you would not normally do just unless it was really important to you. And sometimes you have to be put into those situations to where you kind of zone out and get out of your way. You do have to get out of the creator's way to get through some of those things. So ceremonies are really a good outlet for people.
Yeah, I love
For one.
sweating. Every week,
Fasting.
sweating has become like a very intricate part of my recovery.
You cannot pour from an empty cup.
Yeah. Nothing about holes.
Yeah, there was nothing about holes
Yeah.
there. It was
No
close
sippy
enough,
cup?
though.
Yeah, no sippy cup in the
Listen,
quote
we're
either.
trying to get Belinda's to talk, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good point, though. That
Yeah,
was a
it
good
was
point,
a good
Belinda.
one. Good one.
Yeah.
Belinda.
I am survivor.
She is a
Yeah.
survivor. Hey,
Sometimes
you
that's
got to
good
wake
enough.
up today.
Yeah.
That's good
Look how
enough.
everybody
Sometimes that's
knows
good.
that it's your cup's empty, not because there's holes in it.
Foam cup.
No.
Yeah.
Listen, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
She's Cantonese, so it works.
Her cup's just her hands together. That's all.
Jake said you can't pour from red solo cups.
you know, uh, that's basically right here is like the same environment that we got around here at the DOH.
This is self-care. I mean, laughing is always a big thing. Laughter is medicine. It absolutely is. But, especially in Native communities, like
Mhm.
if you're not getting made fun of or, getting rugged and talking to people, then I don't care about you. And that's how I feel loved is whenever people pick on you. That's what we used to always tell everybody if like when they would come into work with us, we'd say if we don't pick on you, it means we either don't know you or we don't like you.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
you want somebody to pick on you. And
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how much or how they do.
Yeah.
Y'all need to make some room for me on that couch. Come on down,
Mhm.
Brother Jake.
I know. You'll probably knock over Barry's boosters.
Barry said you can
Yeah.
sit on his lap.
Sit on Uncle's lap.
if he has one. Talking about needing to lose
Have the
weight.
microphone behind Jake. too,
Yeah.
to see Barry.
Straddle his knee. Hey?
Yeah.
He said, "Get me a love seat."
I don't know. We need to get another. I'm telling you, a sectional. That's gonna be the next
Day
thing.
Yeah,
sectional.
that'd be
Hey,
good.
Right here.
All big.
Yep.
Well, how long we been on?
I don't know.
51 minutes and 12
51 minutes. I'm alcoholic. I can't focus for more than an hour. So,
Alcoholics and babies.
alcoholics and babies. No.
Can only hold their attention for about
Yep.
10 minutes.
Yeah. So, I love the fact that we just grabbed some mics and hit the live stream and was like, let's see what happens, And I love the fact that we're talking about mental health. That's got to be one of my biggest obstacles that I had to overcome was realizing that I do have a purpose. I can be grateful, thankful, and appreciative every day, and positive thinking and being aware of my physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional health. I mean, to me, it's an ongoing thing. It used to feel like a gauntlet, but now it just feels like a wave. Now I'm just vibing. Now I'm just vibing. Now I'm
It's
just
a vulnerability state. Like I was just thinking about what's like not so much the most embarrassing thing that you do for self-care, but something that you maybe not let anybody know. And the only reason I say that is because I was just talking to Barry about when I was growing up, my dad, in his addiction, obviously, but he's been to he was in the military and discharged, came home and did all the things, that they did, but he's in his addiction. And so there were times that now it makes sense to me, but he would go out into the woods and you could hear him just yelling like all the way from the house. And we knew that that was the only release of emotion that he had. And I remember we used to they would tease me because that's my dad, right? Oh, he's out there just hauling around in the woods,
Like
and being crazy. And yeah, like being crazy out there. But like now, and then as much work as I've done now, like that release, sometimes I'll be driving down the road or, get frustrated or whatever. Sometimes I'll just yell at the top of my lungs because nobody else is in the car. And
I thought you were gonna say because Barry was in the passenger seat.
he wouldn't hear anyway. It wouldn't matter.
you dropped a fry.
You ate my fries.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's gonna like if you got 3 things of fries, he's gonna eat all the fries before you eat your fries.
Yep, and then keep the full one.
Jake said, someone tell me I have to meet with the casting couch to get on the culture.
Shout out to Barry. Yeah, Barry said that.
That's why he slapped his knee
Yeah.
like that.
You watching the wrong shows, Jake.
Wait, you're watching the wrong live
Yeah.
stream,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
This one's
Feel
free.
weird that
This one's
Barry was
free.
on both.
That's BEARY.
Yeah.
Well, that's enough for this week. Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad we got to get on here, have this conversation. Hopefully we can come back and do this again soon.
Next Monday.
Anybody got some shout outs they want to give? We appreciate everybody that tuned in. Sorry we didn't get to see all your comments. Mr. Givens, Mr. Chappell, C Dump. I mean, we seen you. Glad everybody tuned in, and it is Mental Health Month. So set you some goals. Not don't be, don't have that 2 week that quitter's day. I mean, it's if anything, it's elevated my life. To be able to put in the work. And I always say this. You put in the work and you let God handle the results. I mean, that's the faith that I found in working the steps. That's the faith that I found in my recovery. And I just, I'm happy today. If I'm anything, I'm happy today. So that's all I really got to say. So y'all go ahead, shut her down. Yeah.
I just sit there.
Yeah, let me end it.
Bye.
And
Button. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have anything else to say other than that.
what?
Nah, but
I thought you were gonna do the lip.
And then whenever I was 2,
did you hear Darian? He said, "I thought you were going to do the look,
oh yeah,
the snap."
I don't want to see you.
Relinquish control. That's a daily thing for me. Relinquish control.
Get out of God's way.
Get out of his way, or hers, or its.
Bye.
Belinda's, what good words you gonna leave the people with?
Just find your good outlet to healthy outlet. Find someone to talk to if you're struggling. I hope you have that person that you can rely on. If not, we're here.
Definitely.
We are here for you.
Yes.
Whip your possums. Whip your
Oh.
possums one more time.
Just a little wave.
Mr. Chibata,
To touch my ear.
would you like to send the people off with some good words?
Yeah, with the the Quitters Day coming up next week, give this the chance to turn your motivation into discipline with whatever you do. Because I mean, sometimes your motivation will run out, but if you have discipline, it'll get you there, and then the motivation will come back eventually. I think that's what I've been doing. I mean, even if I show up because I go to the gym every morning at 5 a.m., I do not want to be there most of the time, but the discipline will get you there. So that way it'll get you through the day. It'll, hopefully get something positive going in your life, or negative. As long as you're feeling something and focusing on what you're feeling, processing it healthily, then you'll be all right. So, yeah.
Good
And then if you
deal.
guys have goals, put them in the comments.
Put them in
and
the
then,
comments.
next week we'll follow up. We'll make sure. And
I'll-
so we could even do
Might
this.
be a hot
as-
topic next
yeah,
week.
I like
yeah.
what you said about discipline. Because there's one thing that I've learned about
Mr. Levi,
What do you say?
my mental health goal: quit saying "I bull" each time every someone shares.
Yeah,
I bull.
yeah, just the whole talking
He
circle.
did it the whole, he did it the whole time we was talking. Probably
Said it with his eyes.
Yeah.
He said it in
But-
his heart.
I like what you said about discipline, Derek. They say with discipline, it makes today hard, but tomorrow easy. And then undisciplined, it makes today easy, but tomorrow hard. If that makes sense to you. But where are you going, Domingo?
He's gone.
Is he gone? Damn, that guy was quick.
I know.
No goodbye, nothing.
Well, it's because he realized we were occupied. He didn't have to sneak.
I know.
Because usually he sneaks out with his backpack on one arm. He's, I'm just going to the bathroom. Yeah, I got to take this phone call out in my car.
Well, I guess that's about it. Hopefully we get on here soon once again. But we like having these mental health Mondays, and it's Mental Health Month. Set you some goals. Stay positive. I mean,
And Mending Mondays tonight.
and it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, and don't have holes in your cup.
Yeah, in your sippy cup.
Final thought.
But tonight there is a Mending Broken Hearts talking circle here at 1950 South Shepherd, here in El Reno, Oklahoma, at 7:00. I get it's always a great meeting. Mr. Levi does a great job, even though he says all bull after every time everyone shares
in his heart.
in his heart with his eyes. But we appreciate the work that he's been able to offer to the community, and that's all I got to say.
All
I
right.
said that 4 times.
Yep, I know.
And then
And one more thing. No, I'm just
Abu,
Yeah. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
I hope.